first high school is the best magical school, known to train remarkable students to become magic technicians. In this systematized world, only the magically skilled can survive. But what happens when the appearance of one student stands as a gap between having magical powers or not? The story begins during the matriculation ceremony for the National Magic University, where the siblings have successfully enrolled. The only problem is that one of them is not enrolled in their choice of specialty, and that is revealed to be the older brother, Tatsuya. Miyuki, who is clearly pissed at this, throws a fit at the unfairness. It seems Tatsuya had a brilliant score in the entrance exams, but unfortunately, he was dropped to study under Course 2, which is revealed to be the class popularly known for the magically unskilled, the Weeds, but commonly known as the reserve students. Miyuki's opinion of her brother is that he's an intellectual genius, but it seems that the magic schools needed something more than remarkable scores, outstanding technical knowledge, and phenomenal combat fighting style. Sadly, his performance on the practical test rendered him unskilled because he lacked the magic requirement. Thus, his current situation. Fortunately for Miyuki, she performs exceptionally well on the entrance exams, getting her accepted into the honorable Course 1, which is revealed to be the class for the Blooms. Her outstanding score also has her selected to represent the incoming students and also to speak during the ceremony. Among the audience, Mizuki approaches Tatsuya as he settles into his chair, but he looks captivated by the female. Also, there's a redhead named Irregular who sits next to them, joining their conversation. Just then, Tatsuya discovers that Irregular and Mizuki are Course 2 students through brief conversations. The girls offer to hang out with Tatsuya after the ceremony, but he politely declines because he has plans with Miyuki after her speech. He also attempts to determine the emotion he felt during his initial encounter with Mizuki. After another talk session with her, he learns she can read auras with her eyes, and Tatsuya immediately considers her ability a threat to his secret. He also makes it clear that Mizuki must never know his secret, and after a meeting with them, Miyuki abruptly shows up with members of the student council. When Miyuki arrives, the first thing she does is to tease her big brother about a particular female friend. Soon, the president and vice president of the student council approach them. Unfortunately, neither the siblings nor their small group are moved by her presence. They go on and on with their talks until she eventually leaves. But the vice president doesn't leave, not without giving them death stares for their rudeness. Later, Miyuki almost loses her composure as she is angry that Tatsuya did not receive a congratulatory email for successfully enrolling. He manages to make her feel better, knowing that it's a consequence of disrespecting his father's wishes to inherit his business. Later, the siblings go to a temple where they are ambushed by ninja shinobi. As the fight continues, Master Kokono startles Miyuki, who is watching. Fortunately, Miyuki's older brother shows up just in time to save the day. Master Kokono is revealed to be their master and the descendant of a long line of mages and shinobis who were united. In response to Tatsuya's audaciousness, Master Kokono challenges him to a duel. In the end, his developing skills impress his master. The next day, Tatsuya adjusts in class when Leo shows an interest in his old typing style. Instead of getting everything into his brain like osmosis, Tatsuya modestly introduces himself as a practitioner of low-end magic who hopes to one day work as a magic engineer. Irregular and Leo are also proven to have a strong hostility toward each other, following a statement made by Leo that she looks like a man. And yes, Leo has to deal with the repercussions of having a big mouth. Thankfully, the arguments are halted with the professor's arrival. But then again, there is some sort of eye contact between Tatsuya and the professor. During lunch, Miyuki stops by Tatsuya's table to join him for lunch. But just then, the Blooms, which are the students in Course 1, arrive to interrupt her. Apparently, Blooms sitting next to Weeds is an insult, so they invite Miyuki to join them at their table. The Blooms could be perceived as bullies, and they don't want to waste any time in asserting their power throughout the school. Despite Tatsuya's clever plan to leave the table and avoid the ensuing chaos, it remains inevitable. The altercation continues outside with the Blooms versus the Weeds. The Blooms keep making derogatory remarks about the Weeds until things escalate quickly. Leo confronts Morisaki, who can no longer take the criticism he dished out, and he also frowns at their comebacks. It's left to Irregular and Tatsuya, who intercede just in time to stop the exchange of attacks. Suddenly, Mari arrives and announces that all the students involved will be sent to detention. That's when Tatsuya steps forward. He claims that they weren't fighting. Instead, it was just a friendly training session among students. Because of his noble speech, Mari misjudges him as a Course 1 student, but Tatsuya merely clarifies that this is what distinguished him from the other students and made him the Irregular at the Magic High School. Segusa appears to know what's going on. However, she supports Tatsuya. One of Murasaki's team members, Mitsui, thanks Tatsuya and offers to walk home with them, which also relieves the tension between both parties. Tatsuya seems to have a special rapport with women. He essentially uses some girls as his escort as he strolls home. The use of Erika's weapon to disarm Murasaki in their altercation is also brought up, which is a strange subject. Because nobody knew of any other magic schools, this makes everyone curious as to their existence. The following day, Segusa extends an invitation to the siblings and states her desire for Miyuki to join the student council. Miyuki brings up Tatsuya's mistreatment once more, despite him being so talented. She also added that his test results showed he was more deserving of it. Sadly, no weed was eligible to serve on the student council. He does have a choice though. Luckily, Mari offers him a spot on the disciplinary committee. That way, he could join in without raising too many conflicts. To end the preferential standard between blooms and weeds, Mari finds him to be the ideal match. You could also describe Tatsuya as a bridge between the blooms and weeds. However, Hattori, the vice president of the council who never liked Tatsuo, opposes Mari's decision. He protests that the council chamber is not the place for weeds, despite Miyuki's confidence in Tatsuya's ability. Tatsuya has no objection until he proposes a duel against Tatsuya to prove his sister's judgment is not clouded as Hattori claims. Hattori, who is convinced that a bloom can never lose to a weed, is overly confident. However, he gets knocked out immediately after the fight begins, shocking everyone who watches. The audience is in awe of Tatsuya's amazing speed and capacity for combat. They also wonder where in the books it was stated that weeds could work such magic. He merely refutes their presumptions though. He explains that he used an advanced physical technique rather than magic to defeat Hattori. He simply overrode Hattori's casting wave, knocking him unconscious before sending him into the hallucinatory dimension. Azusa is revealed to be interested in tech, and when she attempts to grasp Tatsuya's weapon, he keeps it back in its box. Azusa thinks it's amazing that Tatsuya can handle a device that was made and used by experts. The girls are left to guess how Tatsuya acquired such a weapon. When suddenly the sleeping prince awakens, he immediately apologizes to Miyuki for saying that her judgment was clouded after seeing Tatsuya's abilities. After that, Tatsuya joins Mari in the conference room for the disciplinary committee. Suddenly, other members of the disciplinary committee, Tatsumi and Midori, arrive. These guys seem like the laid-back kind until they start throwing derogatory comments at Tatsuya, the only weed present in the room. But the moment Mari reveals Tatsuya's victory over Hattori, they are shocked, and their attitudes change. That evening, Miyuki requests assistance with her school supplies, and Tatsuya is ready to help her. However, the process requires Miyuki to strip naked. It turns out that she intentionally throws herself at Tatsuya and cunningly wonders if he doesn't see her as a woman. Thankfully, it turned out to be a trick to discover the reason behind his lack of interest in women. The oath-taking ceremony is the next activity at the disciplinary committee. The first years, in which Mari had a great deal of faith in their abilities, were Murasaki and Tatsuya, hence their acceptance into the committee. Tatsuya starts on a patrol for his first day of work where he defends Erikawa against a mob, and in the process, he accidentally catches the sight of her bosom. Soon, drama unfolds between the sparring teams, Mibu and Kirihara, while Tatsuya hangs out at the gym. Minnie is declared the winner in a brief duel of fake swords. However, a devastated Kirihara, who is revealed to be a sore loser, breaks the school rules by unleashing a real sword with the aid of magic. The all-powerful member of the disciplinary committee steps in to evade Kirihara's blow at Mibu, and Kirihara is pinned to the ground. So, Kirihara's teammates are all about to jump on Tatsuya in a rampage because they are shocked and indignant that a weed is on the disciplinary committee. The way he expertly avoids all of the attacks without suffering any harm catches Captain Tsukasa's eye and prevents Mibu from getting involved in the battle. Before the chairman of extracurricular activities, Jiyumanji, and the Students' Council Board, Tatsuya is called to defend his actions and arrest Kirihara and members of the Kenjutsu team. Later on, he joins Miyuki and the others for dinner, and in front of the others, the siblings show unusual sibling love that is not entirely accepted at the table. They raise a topic about how he defeated Kirihara earlier, and Tatsuya takes the pain to describe his strategy. He calls it a magic canceling spell he sort of developed on his own. He also explains the danger it could pose to the country, hence it remains a secret to him. The following day, while on duty, he receives a call reporting a riot in school, and as he rushes to investigate, he is ambushed by a person he almost immediately recognizes. Miyuki worries that Tatsuya might abandon her, just because of his growing popularity in school, especially now that he caught Mibu's attention. Meanwhile, she only approached him so that they could have an important conversation. At the cafe, Mibu expresses gratitude to him for saving her, but it soon becomes clear to Tatsuya that she has other objectives. It seems like Mibu wants to add Tatsuya to the kendo team. She feels that students who don't practice magic, like them, should have a safe place to go where they won't be bullied or treated less than, like how Kirihara tried to manipulate her in the gym to fight and cause a scene. Later on, Tatsuya relates his details of his meeting with Mibu to the council, and at the precise moment, there's a discussion and a revelation about a person who has been spreading rumors about Tatsuya's improper use of his position. It turns out there are eyes on him as a weed, being on the disciplinary committee. In the meeting, there is also the revelation of an uproar. It turns out that it could be from the anti-magic group Blanche. The council is shocked that Tatsuya has access to such information. However, Tatsuya notifies the council that their concealing of this truth could be lethal to a nation that is now dependent on magic for survival. Later on, an alluring nurse named Miss Ono later summons Tatsuya for a psychological evaluation. You might have noticed that Tatsuya was popular among the ladies. However, she was more curious about Mibu's proposal to him. Also, it is revealed that Captain Tsukasa is trying to manipulate Mibu into doing his bidding. His goal is for the non-magic students to rise to prominence and gain control over the school. Meanwhile, Tatsuya has a conversation with Miyuki, where he reveals top-secret details about an active threat at the school, and he also worries about their future. In the end, he promises to protect Miyuki, no matter what.